As a composer, you might be wondering, why should I hire an orchestrator when my music is already orchestrated on the computer? I'll admit I had the same question when I was starting out. The thought of handing off my music to someone else was a bit unsettling. After all, this is your creation, right? It's your baby. So there's a natural fear that someone else might change the instrumentation, colors, textures, I don't know, even the melody and harmony. And as the composer, you've poured countless hours into shaping your piece, and it's only natural that you want it to stay true to your vision, especially when the director or producer has already signed off on it. But to really answer this question, we need to dive into what happens when your demo enters the orchestration process. To start, if you're planning to record your music with a live orchestra, hiring an orchestrator is essential. So what I do in simple terms is take your MIDI demo and do a musical translation, turning your digital creation into a full orchestral score. And then I take care of all the logistical puzzles and potential obstacles that could pop up along the way, ensuring that your recording session runs smoothly and efficiently. My process of orchestration has been shaped over the years by learning from other orchestrators and by working at a top music preparation house in Hollywood on a variety of high-profile projects. This experience allowed me to dive into every aspect of music preparation. So I started from printing and then proofing scores and parts, and then transcribing MIDI, and even reconstructing old scores for live performances and engraving for top-tier clients. And I've been very fortunate to work alongside some incredibly talented composers and orchestrators. But I've also come across certain notation and orchestration practices that I personally believe that are outdated or sometimes inconsistent. And to be honest, there's just no one perfect way to orchestrate a piece. But my goal is always to create something that's efficient, clear, and consistent. I aim to make sure that the musicians feel comfortable and confident with their parts, as this is key to getting the best performance possible. The success of a recording session often comes down to the tiniest details, making sure that everything is meticulously prepared to avoid delays during the session. Now, let's dive into the details of how I approach this process, particularly when the composer has written the music in MIDI format. The first step is to receive a MIDI file along with a stereo audio file that matches the MIDI. From there, I create a sequence in Digital Performer. During this phase, I ensure that the MIDI and the audio align and that no data is missing. I also check the time signatures and tempo map for live recording. If the tempo map needs adjustments, I'll make those changes, but don't worry. I know sometimes there's a little concern about getting out of sync, but these adjustments will not affect the timing with the picture. They are purely for technical and notation purposes. Once the overall check is done, I begin cleaning up the MIDI. This means quantizing every note, attacks, and releases to the grid. This step ensures that the rhythms will be properly notated when I import the MIDI into the notation software. After cleaning up the MIDI, I import it into Sibelius, which is my preferred notation software. Now that the data is in Sibelius, I go through it again to ensure everything is rhythmically accurate. And I check for an harmonic consistency across all the sections and condense the data where possible. For example, I combine articulations like short and long notes into the fewest staves necessary. And this is also something that goes depending on what the composer has written or their style. And then I also add the essential articulations that affect the sound, such as pizzicato, tremolos, and trills. And at this point, the result is a clean, accurate sketch that reflects the mockup in a concise and practical way. Now, this is where the magic happens, the actual orchestration. I add dynamics, articulations, and adjust the voicings as needed. I also flesh out the score wherever there's room for more detail or ways to improve the music. The goal here is to stay true to the composer's vision, translating the MIDI mockup into a live orchestra experience. The idea is for the final recording to sound like the mockup, but even better. So once the orchestration is complete, I focus on the layout of the score, ensuring it's clear and easy to read for the conductor. I also double check that no essential elements are missing, right? Obviously notes, but also time signatures, tempos, or double bars to ensure a seamless experience for everyone involved, and especially the musicians who will perform the music. Remember, they'll be seeing your music for the first time that day. A well-prepared score ensures the recording session runs smoothly, and that maximizes both time and budget. While a lot of modern orchestration may seem like a technical process, it's just much more than just transferring MIDI notes into notation and adding some dynamics. It is a highly skilled craft with many important considerations. In the next segment, I'll demonstrate what this process looks like with an excerpt from an actual orchestration scenario.